Welcome back to another episode of BHAW Radio. We're at episode 72. I'm your host, Brian Rowan, with co-host Tyler McLeese. Tonight on the show, we've got Coach Ward back on. We're going to do a little Bucknell recap, prep for senior night this weekend against Lehigh, and go into a little recap, or a little overview for Lehigh. So welcome to the show, guys. Coach Ward, welcome.
What's up, fellas? It's always good to be with you. BHAW, everybody. We got a lot to talk about. We had a good dual meet. Senior day is coming up against another really quality opponent. So let's talk some Army wrestling. I mean, we can pause and talk CrossFit if you want, or we can just
gentlemen, no nonsense. Let's get right into it. Bucknell, coach. Let's start talking about Dalton Harkins at 165 versus Zach Hartman, who is definitely Bucknell's best wrestler. Dalton looked great again. I mean, that kid is really good on top, and obviously that dictates the match. Talk about kind of the game plan for Dalton, because he came out super aggressive and had a really nice takedown right off the bat. Was that something that you had game planned, or did he just kind of improvise?
I think he's starting to kind of feel it a little bit. Coming off the match with at Pittsburgh and Cornell, I think Dalton's continuing to improve. And then, after the match with the kid at Bucknell, I'm like, hey man, like, when are you going to start acting like you should win these matches? Dalton worked so hard. He's one of the best teammates as a freshman that I've ever seen, whether here or anywhere else. Like, he's an awesome teammate as a freshman, very mature in the wrestling room in terms of like lifting others up, taking time to go pat somebody else on the back, like things that a lot of freshmen don't do, so I'm like, hey man, you're doing everything that it takes. Like, you need to start acting like you're supposed to beat these guys. You take the guy down, and then maybe take your foot off the gas just a little bit. Now their guy's really, really good. He's really good. So no disrespect to the opponent, but I thought Dalton maybe, kind of let up a little bit. But he's continuing to show what he's capable of doing. It doesn't get any easier for him as the season goes on. So that's an exciting thing for him, that he's going to have to continue to step it up and make his own breaks. So, hey, a good performance by him. He got beat by a really solid opponent, a guy that was in the national semifinals last year. So quality opponent for sure. And
he's got to be confident now, because I noticed, I don't know when this was created, but Dalton Harkins has his own fan page on Instagram now.
And it's legitimate too.
Don't give me. Hey, if this was only a thing, McLeese, remember, were you here when there was the Ostwild's fan page or whatever that was?
I was.
That's immediately what I thought of when this Instagram page popped up. Listen, if you don't follow the Dalton Harkins fan page on Instagram, don't start. But at least I did my job and gave him a plug. Coach D'Angelo may run that fan page for all I know, because he's been mentioned on it like 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah, so, well, we're super excited about it. Not just excited, we're super excited about it. super pumped for that fan page.
That was a really good reach back, Tyler. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's been all in my notes. I basically got this whole thing scripted out.
He's been hanging onto that one.
So segueing into someone else,
we need to get back on task though. This is getting too comedic. We need to get back.
This is nonsense. No one wants to hear this. Get back.
Let's talk about Ben Pazook looking for bonus points, because Ben has been an animal. That crossface cradle that he was running was just vicious on Nolan Springer.
Are you talking about Penny Bazook?
Yeah, right.
So Ben got his first collegiate pin at the Franklin and Marshall tournament in January, and since then he's had like 3 or 4 more. So we went from calling him Ben Pazook to the Pazooka, and now I'm stuck with Penny Bazook. So yeah, he had a nice pin there, super aggressive, not regular aggressive, but
super
even
aggressive.
More. Yeah. And he had a pin in his extra match too. He had a countable extra match there at the end of the dual meet. So, what was good about that is like he hit hard shots, good attacks. And his cradle, he had a cradle, tried to roll through, was really aggressive with it. didn't work, get back to their feet, get the guy on his back again, put the clamps down, boom. I mean, talk about a big time pin. Second match of the dual meet. That was awesome. So Ben's getting better every time he competes. I would say that right now, Ben is wrestling at the level that he was at the end of the season last year. And he's got, 44 days to get better.
Is he a guy that you see having to wrestle his way into the tournament? Because his injury, he obviously missed a lot of time. Is he going to be able to make that up in the RPI?
I don't think so. I think, all of us, like even our guys that get an allocated spot, like if they have a bad tournament, then the spot's gone. So up and down 125 to heavyweight on our team, we need good conference tournament. So it's fair to say all 10 of our guys have to wrestle their way into the tournament without a doubt.
All right. Moving on, Brad Laughlin.
Here's what I like about Brad Laughlin's match is he had the match in the bag. Like it was wrapped up. The match wasn't close. He gets a little aggressive on a takedown finish. He gets sloppy on a takedown finish is what happened. And the guy gets a takedown. The match gets close. It's tied. No, it's like 4-3 or 3-2. And then we get called for stalling in the third period, which I thought was, a little silly to tie the match up. And then immediately Brad goes and gets a takedown right after he gets called for stalling. They call him for stalling. He gets a takedown, finishes, boom, now he's up by 2. So, last year, if that happened to Brad, he may not have won that match. And this year, and that was his first match back since December 10th, by the way. So, for him to be like, okay, the match is tied, I'm putting this thing away. Go get a takedown, finish, ride the guy out. Showed maturity, toughness. Really good job.
Did you talk to him after the match about that? Did he think about that after the fact and internalize that more? Or was that was it something that he purposely did? Or was it like he was just wrestling through it and just, it just kind of happened?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know, what was going through his mind, but I did, I told him, look, man, you got to beat everybody. You got to beat the opponent. You got to beat the ref. You got to beat the assistant ref that's just kind of walking around in circles. You got to beat the crowd, and you did it. Whatever happened, stall call, tied the match up, boom, take him down, and you didn't let it bother you. You took him down, you rode him out. Really good way to come back to win, after 6 weeks off the mat or so. And I know he looked pretty good, but he hasn't, he's just now back. That way, he hasn't been wrestling live for 3 weeks and then stepped out there. I think he maybe wrestled live once before he stepped out there for that dual meet. And I asked him before the dual meet, because, we love Sam, and Sam wrestles hard. And I was like, hey, man, how's the knee feel? Are you good to go? Yeah, I'm good. I said, hey, look, if you go out there, then you're wrestling. There's no, my knees kind of hurt. If you step on the mat, it's 100%. And he's like, yeah, I got it. He's like, I understand. I've been around. I got it. I get it. I was like, all right, let's do it. Said, you want the match? Yeah, I want the match. Said, you got it. Let's go.
Good. Can we take a second to talk about stalling? And can you explain to the fans the stalling, as you know it? Because obviously there's got to be a conversation about it. How do the refs explain what stalling is?
No, it's really hard. Let me tell you this. The job of a wrestling official has never been more difficult than it is now. There's so many things to keep up with, and we're asking them to use their judgment in a lot of situations. And it's a lot. It's not an easy job. But here's what got me in that match. I'm okay. Listen, we at 184, we took the guy down, and we were trying to turn him for about 2.5 minutes. But the guy had no shoulders at all, so flexible. We couldn't turn him. We were trying, and we couldn't. No stall call. They take us down, lay on top of us, stalling bottom man, not even sniffing a turn, not even trying one. So that's what bothered me was the inconsistency. If you're going to call it, you're going to call it. But just call it, both ways. That was a frustrating part of that dual meet for sure. Not that the job is easy at all. But it was frustrating to see the inconsistency in how it was called. Same thing at 157, where we turn the guy twice. So we're obviously working really hard on top and have 4.5 minutes of riding time, not even a stall warning. The guy gets on top of us for 90 seconds after he illegally returns us to the mat, blatantly illegal, stall warning. I'm like, come on, man. Like, let's just be consistent. Like, first off, there's 2 officials on the mat that both missed an illegal mat return by the rule, illegal. And then we get called for stalling when the guy's not even trying to turn. We got to get up off bottom. That's not like we got to get away. But the inconsistencies are what bothered me in that match. That was frustrating.
Yeah, I agree. I thought just having been around and watching wrestling for a while that I knew what stalling was, but this year has made me feel like a very uneducated fan, because sometimes, like, watching with someone, it'd be hard to explain why calls are being made the way they are.
Well, I think, like on the mat, referee's position stalling, it's in a really bad spot where we've pretty much accepted the fact that the top man can ride, like we don't have to make any attempt to turn. And if you would just call the top guy for stalling, like much quicker, you could eliminate a lot of that. But we're not there yet, like.
You're not even seeing it on mat returns anymore. Like if guys are like act like they're trying to return to the mat, they can walk around behind in rear standing for 10 seconds, and the refs are allowing it.
And us as wrestlers and guys that have done, like, we can appreciate how hard it is to hold somebody down. It's not easy at all. It takes skill, it takes toughness, it takes grit, but it's also like super boring. Right? I mean, it's really boring to watch. For a casual fan. So hopefully, and I'm trying to get on the rules committee, by the way. I've tried for like the past 3 years. I'm trying again this year. And I'm one step further than I've been in the past. So if I do, that's an area that, I'm going to try to push the committee to address. It's like, let's create a better product by putting more onus on the top man to create points.
How does one get on the rules committee?
You apply through your conference. Your conference is able to push one candidate up to the committee. The committee is made up of a couple Division I coaches, a couple non-Division I coaches, administrators, official. So you apply and maybe they select you. John Smith, my old coach, was on the committee before. And I know he advocated for me, but I think the rest maybe felt like we don't need a John Smith disciple. While John Smith is on the committee, it's kind of what I heard through the grapevine. So who knows? Maybe it'll happen. But hey, nobody wants to hear about me and the wrestling rules.
Yeah, let's talk.
We could do an entire episode on the rules changes that I want to see, but let's talk about JT Brown.
Yeah, Tyler, you gotta stay on topic. You're gonna get me in trouble.
JT Brown, a dominating 6-1 decision. He did a great job, and he's feeling more and more confident. The best thing about JT Brown is his attitude and leadership leading up. What do we got there, P-Row? Is his attitude and leadership leading up to the dual meet, afterwards, and the way he's acted in the wrestling room since. More vocal, more of an example of the attitude that we need to see. So good job on senior JT Brown for stepping into a leadership role.
Are you what are you working on with him, with his offense? Because he has a bunch of really good shots. He really likes the 2-on-1 stepping through. Like, how have you tried to open up his offense? Because we've seen him experiment with a lot over this season.
He's got to feel, JT's a guy that needs to feel good, feel confident. And he's so physically strong and capable of so much. He's got a few things that he's really good at. His 2-on-1, club single. He can attack on both sides of the body. Most of my work with JT, personally, is like finer details on finishes. Make sure you're getting your feet in the right position, so you're not getting caught in scrambles, and be looking for some other things. He's got some good arm drags and stuff he can do. So, no, for him, it's just a matter of like, the more reps he gets in a positive way, the better he gets. So it was a grind for him the first part of the season, and now he's getting into matches where he's scoring a few more points. He's feeling good about that. So he's going in a really good direction.
Yeah, definitely agree. He's been looking good, and he's getting good at the right time of the year too.
Love that.
I want to talk
any
about
gold chains he's got going on. Is maybe the swag, building up?
Oh man, maybe we need to bring him back. I haven't seen many chains. We got to bring him back.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's got some swagger. There's no doubt, but we need some more chains. We need more chains.
I'm wearing a chain to Lehigh this week,
on
my end.
Let's talk about Ryan Shavin. Ryan Shavin in another close match coming down to the end. Talk about his kind of development through the year, because he's in a lot of these matches. He's in one takedown matches against Iowa, against Penn State. He's in a close match at the end. A lot of these, he's in really tough battles. What are you doing to get him over that hump?
So, yeah, I mean, everything that we can. First off, I love Ryan Shavin, and no one is more frustrated with the results than Ryan Shavin. And you got to remember that. Like, you got to have respect for what it feels like to step out there and compete, right? It's easy to sit on the sidelines and, well, you should do that. Well, get out there and try it. Don't ever forget how hard it was when
Absolutely.
Ryan came up to me after the match and he was like, Coach, I have to find a way to like open up more and take more chances. And I said, yeah, you do. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I was like, hey, but look around. Everybody on the bench, hey, they love you just as much now as they did before. It's like, okay, like you take an opportunity, you take a chance and it doesn't work, we're still going to love you, So listen, he will find it. Like, he will tap into his ability. And when he does, we all know what he's capable of doing. And it's our job to help him realize that and get to that point, because he's capable of so much. He's a great teammate. Everybody loves him. And you're right that he's so freaking close. But you know what Doc Z says, in the journey of 1,000 miles, 999 is only halfway. So we're so close, but we got to just, like sometimes it can take forever to close that last little gap. So yeah, we're going to keep working and pushing there. But man, when he does, look out, because the kid is super talented and capable.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to it. So let's talk last three matches of the duel, tied 12-12.
You just skipped over Brandon Phillips, though, at heavyweight.
We skipped Brandon Phillips. He's about to skip Dom Crone. Listen, Brandon Phillips, very tough match at heavyweight, controlled the match the entire time, 6 minutes and 40 seconds. I thought when he didn't finish that single leg there and halfway through the third period, maybe he backed off the gas a little bit, got stung with a takedown there at the end. Was the only time in the match he was ever even remotely close to being threatened. And credit to the opponent. No doubt about it. I'm not going to cheap shot. Credit the opponent. Hit a nice elbow pass to a double leg, got the win. Good job. Brandon knows the adjustments that need to be made. Dom Carone at 133 pounds. Wrestled a really tough guy. That Phipps kid's really good. And Dom is still kind of like, he's still building some confidence in what we know he can do. We're like, from the outside, his shots and his attacks don't look as committed as they do sometimes in the practice room. You watch him in practice and you're like, well, very nice. In competition, maybe he goes 80% instead of 100. And once he starts to go all out 100%, he'll be scoring a lot of points. So now you can get to the last three matches of the duel.
Yeah, so sorry about skipping over some of those matches. But so 12-12 going into the last three matches tied up. And we got Thomas Deck going out against number 20 in the country, a guy who's 8-0. Talk through that match and what the game plan was and how Thomas executed.
We had prepared, obviously, for a couple things that kid's really good with, specifically his ride, which he's very unique with and does a good job. Other than that, you kind of tell Thomas Deck to you tell him, listen, your pace is a problem for people. And the way that you look for points from every position makes you a dangerous guy. Go score. I thought Thomas, and even watching it on film, I can see why somebody may not give him a takedown, But I thought he had a takedown. Like, the guy's fighting off of his back, and ultimately he got off of his back and got back to his feet. But the fact of it is, he was on his back to begin with. So I thought it was a clear takedown. We didn't get it. And in a tough match there in the third period, and we get a reverse and ride the guy out. What Thomas is learning, you got to remember this about him. This is his first year of college wrestling. I mean, he's like 23 matches into his college career. He didn't go to the prep school, no matches. Last year, as a freshman, 0 matches, COVID, no tournaments. So he's like 23 matches into college. Like, he's learning a lot still, right? And he's learning that when he starts to think he's tired, like, he's not. That's just what it feels like to wrestle hard. And if you watch him, he wrestles really hard. So that was a solid win for him, man. He's a dangerous guy. And if you let up for 1 second against him, you can be in a lot of trouble. So great performance.
In the past, you've talked about the 141 weight class, about someone needing to plant their flag at the end of the season. Do you think Thomas Deck, I mean, looking how he wrestled against Cornell and now how he wrestled against Bucknell, is he starting to take the spot, or what things are left to be decided there?
Well, I think, it's my job to, I think Thomas is making a really strong case for himself. Absolutely. It's also true that, Corey Shy hasn't received the same opportunities as Deck has this year. Corey Shy hasn't been in the number of tournaments, had the number of matches. So it's not settled yet. But, T-Deck is making a very strong case for himself. So you're going to see Thomas wrestle again for sure. You may see Corey wrestle, get another chance. But, man, what a good problem to have. 2 awesome guys that, I wish that we had 30 more people just like those 2. So, a good problem for us to have. One of them's going to take the spot, and it's not decided yet.
Yeah, well, another awesome match at 149, seeing Matt Williams finally step in the lineup and do some things that maybe people who have been following him, because he's got a pretty good record on the year. And although, he's behind PJ, who's the best guy on the team. So talk through Matt Williams' performance.
Man, Matt Williams, like you just nailed it, has put together a really solid season, hasn't been in the starting lineup. Get this, though. When Matt Williams stepped out there in competition, he was the 19th guy to start for us in dual meet competition this year. You only have 10 weight classes. He was the 19th individual to start for us in a dual meet. That's, you maybe don't want to have 19 different people starting. That means you got some issues, but a lot of them are out of our control. So, but Matt Williams did a great job. I was worried, not worried, but I was a little bit concerned that during the dual meet, Matt Williams is like the loudest guy on the bench, screaming the whole time, up and down the sidelines, yelling. And I'm like, hey, man, you got to wrestle here in 20 minutes. You got to get yourself ready. But we had done, our preparation on the opponent. He knew what to expect. And the guy he wrestled has won a lot of matches this year and done a good job. And Matt stuck to what he does really well, wrestled. Probably not as close as the scoreboard said in the end. So just excited for Matt Williams to be able to take advantage of an opportunity, because he works really hard. He's known all year long. He's known he's PJ's backup all year. And that's not always an easy thing to know. All right, I'm somebody's backup. But I've told him, you have to take advantage of every day, because you're something away from stepping into the lineup. Something happened. And now he gets to show that he didn't take a day off the whole time. He was somebody else's backup, but he's never taken a day off. He's continued to train, he's going to get his opportunity in his moment. He got that opportunity. He took advantage of it. You'd love to see it.
Yeah, definitely love to see it.
We've got to work on his interviewing skills, though. He seemed a little nervous under the camera.
First match. What do you expect?
Wrestling wise, he didn't look nervous at all out there, but he gets on the camera, he looked a little nervous, but it'll come.
Can't all be pros like you, B-Row.
So Marcus Hartman, another good win. Let's talk about where he's at now, and what changes he needs to make going into the last kind of stretch of the season.
A little bit more aggressive and a little bit more confident. And when he does those things, he's the kind of wrestler you just kind of wind him up and turn him loose, let him go. You want him to be aggressive. You want him to be smart. There's a couple positions that he has to really look out for. They've come back to bite him sometimes. So he's got to be smart, but be really aggressive and know where he's good and attack where he's really good. He's a tournament wrestler, so it's going to be really exciting as we start to near the postseason with him and turn him loose and watch him go.
I think he would also benefit from possibly another gold chain.
I'm going to take some notes here, and I'm going to stop by the PX in the morning, see what they got, show up to practice tomorrow. Let's get swagged out.
But yeah, I mean, that was a great recap. Kind of, we want to pay tribute to the First Seas. This is their one and only home dual match of the year.
No.
So I'm sure they're fired up for it. Give the fans a little insight into what senior night on Sunday is going to be like. Matches at 2 p.m.
That's right.
Eastern against Lehigh. So
here's what fans should know. All right. Dual meet starts 2 p.m. About 5 minutes before that, we're going to recognize our seniors, who we'll go through here in a moment. You do not need a special pass to get on campus for the dual meet. Go to the gate, show your driver's license. You can go to Crystal Arena. You do need proof of vaccination to get inside the gym. That's our indoor events policy. And other than that, we need some fans to come out and recognize these seniors and come watch one hell of a dual meet on Sunday. You want to just run through the seniors and
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I've got the list in front of me here too. JT Brown, who we've talked about, senior team captain, man, started the prep schools, 2-time NCAA qualifier already in his senior year, done so much for the program. What more can you say about JT? So we love him. Great impact for us. His season's not done, that's for sure. Zach Glenn, kind of a localish kid from Bethlehem Catholic. ZG, incredible teammate, hasn't seen a lot of action on the mat. He's dealt with a lot of injuries and some other things in his career, but if you wanted somebody he may make the best coach out of any of our seniors. Like, if you watch this guy, his wrestling IQ off the charts. Whatever Zach Glenn wants to do, he's going to be very good at it because he's smart, but he's also super likable. Like, everybody likes Zach Glenn. He's just got a way of getting along with everybody. And
he's branching infantry.
Did he branch? Yeah, heck yeah, branch infantry, right? Cool. So, no, ZG's good dude, man, solid. Hartman, who we've mentioned, named an All-American a few years ago, and he gets another chance to go earn a spot on the podium this year. But talk about the impact he's made. Like, he was the talk of college wrestling for a couple of days, a few years ago, and that helped our program out a ton. And he's been rock solid and kind of steady for us ever since then. So, we all appreciate him. Eric Kazian at heavyweight, New Jersey product, another local guy. You haven't seen him in the starting lineup probably. Bobby Hill, Ben Sullivan, these guys are pretty good that he's been battling with. And this year has had some injuries and some things that he hasn't been able to compete this year as much. But there's something to be said about those guys that you don't hear a lot about, but that are still here for 4 or 5 years. It means that they're not just in this for themselves. Like, they're in this they want the pride of knowing that they did it. But if it was just about them, they would have been gone a long time ago. They're here for their teammates as well. And Kaz is a really, really solid example of that. Brad Laughlin, a guy that's been in the starting lineup and wrestled for us quite a few times, back in the lineup. Just another really tough guy. Like, if I had to when I was leaving practice yesterday and I walked out, I saw Brad. I said, "Hey, you're kind of tough, huh? Like you're just kind of a tough guy." He just kind of smiled. Yeah, like our recruitment with Brad Laughlin began his junior year of high school when he came to wrestling camp. That's how long I've known Brad. That's like 7 years, So I have a lot of appreciation for him just because I've seen him grow and mature, and I just like him a lot, like his toughness and the way he's grown up and matured. So Ogun Sanya, 49, you can't, like, we've said so much about him and it's impossible to say enough. Like, the way I like to tell the guys, the way you train is the way you compete, and the way you compete is the way you live your life. There's no example more true than PJ. Like, the way he competes is the way he lives his life. Like, that energy and the passion he has for wrestling, that's the way he lives. Like, the only other person I can compare him to, like, he reminds me of like a Chandler Smith, with his smile and his energy, and a Chris Morgan, like with the way that CJ would just like have this presence, and all of a sudden you're in a good mood when you're around him. That's PJ Ogunsanya. So before I get too emotional, I'm going to move on. Brandon Phillips, heavyweight, man. Brandon came to camp before his senior year, and I was like, who is this big guy that can move? It was Brandon Phillips from Maumee, Ohio. And I was like, I've never heard of that place, but I think we want him here at West Point. And he commits, and he comes in the next year direct, smart guy, been battling for spot at heavyweight the past few years. And he's been our guy, over the past couple months at heavyweight. So he stuck with it and is starting to pay off for him. Sam Salat, Pennsylvania product. Sam's been with us. Family's a huge supporter of ours. We like to play golf. They always come out here to our golf outing. Sam Salat, another one of those amazing teammates, really high wrestling IQ. Never turned down, hey man, can you come drill with me, or can you come in and get an extra workout in? His answer is always yes. Been an incredible teammate and made a lot of people. Everybody he's been around, he's made them better. So that's a big credit to what he's done for our program. Corey Shy, we've mentioned him. What I appreciate about Corey Shy more than anything is his competitiveness and how tough the guy is. If you watch Corey Shy in practice and you watch him, you're like, he works pretty hard, like he's not going to blow you away. Then you watch him when you start wrestling live or watch him compete, and you're like, holy shit, this guy hates to lose. Like, he will not concede anything. And I love that about him. And that quality of his is going to serve him well wrestling and in the Army and in life. Like, he is a true competitor. Love that about Corey Shy. Ben Sullivan, heavyweight. How many 4-year starters have you ever seen at heavyweight? It just doesn't happen very often, but he's been in the starting lineup for 4 years as a heavyweight. Unfortunately, he's dealt with some injuries this year, and you're not going to see him back on the wrestling mat this year. Just too many injuries, and he's tried, and man, he did everything he could to overcome the different injuries that he's had, but sometimes it's not in the cards. But with Ben Sullivan, Ben Sullivan has rock solid faith. He knows where he's grounded. He knows where his identity comes from, and he's definitely disappointed he's not going to be wrestling, but he knows that wrestling doesn't define who he is. So Ben Sullivan, that's one of the reasons he was a team captain, is that he can set an example of wrestling is really, really important, but it's not ever going to define, who he is at the end of the day. So we've been really fortunate to have him on the team. 2 more seniors, Christian Walden. He goes by Christian, he goes by CJ, he goes by C-Dub, like whatever he is that day. Let me tell you, Christian Walden, I told him this a couple weeks ago, and I hope he was listening when I said it, but I was like, hey, look around. Like, you haven't been wrestling in competition this year, but you're in here working with everybody. And I said, look, not everybody does that. You've been a really good example. And shook his hand and said, hey, I appreciate you. You've been a really good example to a lot of people. And you don't really need to say much more than that. Like, another guy that not a lot of people know, but if you're in the wrestling room, you know him. He's been a really good example, even probably the best example at this point in his career than he's been at any other time. So, at the end of his career, when it's easy to check out, and like he's been a better example now than at any time before. And lastly, but certainly not least, Cole Wyman. Cole Wyman's that guy that has never, ever turned down a workout. Like, you cannot get him out of the wrestling room. He may be working out 3, 4, 5 times a day, if people need workout partners. So solid guy, salt of the earth type guy, hard worker. So just all in all, really appreciative of this senior class, what they brought to the program, the legacy they leave behind, the impact they've made on the wrestling program and the individuals that they've come in contact with. So I know I'm rambling, but I hope that all the fans will come out and help support them and send them off the right way this Sunday, February 6th, 2 p.m. at Crystal Arena.
Well, I'll be there too. Don't worry about that. I'm fired up.
Yeah.
So getting in, sorry, you go, Tyler.
No, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was going to say, getting into the Lehigh match a little bit and some key matchups. Some really big matchups for EIWA seedings and kind of looking ahead for NCAA's. What matches are you looking forward to before we kind of get into some specific matchups, specific questions?
Oh, Betty, like it's going to be a good one. You talk about like tough matches up and down the lineup. I'm not going to we've been talking wrestling for a while. I'm not going to get into breaking down all 10 matches. But yeah, there's important matches for sure. I mean, all of them, because Lehigh's got a really good team and they're probably all ranked. They've beaten us, at a few weights, and we got to get those matches back. And some other matches that we haven't seen them yet this year, maybe like what matches have we not seen on 41, 49, 57, 65, 97. We haven't seen heavyweight this year, but I mean, those are big time matches. So here's what it's going to be a tough knockdown, drag out dual meet. And it has to be if we're going to win it. If it's not a tough knockdown, drag out dual meet, it won't be in our favor. We need to make it really tough, really ugly, really gritty type of match. And we are ready to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, on paper, like you said, they're probably ranked in every match, but if you look at the common opponents that you guys have wrestled, I mean, every match that we had that was a close match against Cornell, Lehigh was a close match against Cornell. So the gap between the two teams is, on paper, maybe, you're not expected to win, but a lot of those matches are going to be absolute battles. And coming off Bucknell, where we came out on the right side of those battles, we got a lot of momentum going into it.
I'll tell you this about our team is they're starting to feel it. Like they're starting to feel, okay, this is starting to pay off. And it's time for them to step onto the mat with a little bit of attitude of like, yeah, I'm supposed to win this match. Like this guy may be ranked 10 spots above me, but I'm supposed to win it. And if we do that, we'll be okay. We have to respect them because they're really good and they've been good for a long time. So you got to show some respect there, but we don't need to show too much. I'll just say that. I respect their program a lot, love their coaches. They're awesome guys and they're really good at what they do. But when it comes down to competition, like we don't need to show them more respect than is due.
Yeah, I'm really pumped to see Pazook and kind of change it around. They wrestled a bunch. I think they wrestled twice last year. They wrestled once earlier this year. Really excited for him to turn around. Was that the match he got hurt in earlier in the year too?
Yeah, you can find that match somewhere. You go back and watch it. I think Ben's winning 2-1 or 4-1, and it gets like put in a tough position. Like gets reversed and his knee gets twisted up. Gives up a 4-point reversal. I think at the end of the first period when he was winning 2-1 or something like that, and got his knee torqued on pretty hard. And that's why he didn't wrestle. For shit. I mean, he didn't wrestle for a long time after that. So he's back now and he's getting better and he's going to have to be really good and really tough this Sunday because Jake Logan at Lehigh, I mean, he's a really good opponent. So we have to be ready.
Yeah, and he wrestled Dustin Plott really close in the Okie State duel recently
He's
too.
good, man. Listen, this Logan kid, I know what his record is, but if you look at his record, maybe you're like, but I've seen him wrestle. He's really good. So we have to be ready.
At 41, do you know who we're going to see?
Probably Deck. I mean, we're talking here on Thursday night. A lot can happen between now and Sunday. McGonigal is really good, maybe the best scrambler on their team. Really good leg rider on top. He'll put 2 legs in. He's probably not a threat to turn you, but he can hold you down. Really good scrambler when you get to his legs, and really good on top. So we have to be ready. Whoever goes out there has got to be ready to battle in every position.
Yeah, Marcus has a pretty big match against Humphreys too.
That kid is a threat to turn you. That's kind of like polar opposite where, listen, Humphreys, you got to be on your game. If you're going to beat him, you got to be ready to go beat him. He's not going to give you anything. He's maybe the most physical wrestler on top in the country. When him and Max Dean, maybe, when he gets on top and puts legs in, he's not trying to ride you. He's trying to rip your arm off. And you have to know that when you go into that match, like, okay, like this is going to be a war and I've got to be ready. So listen, Marcus has that kind of attitude too. Like he loves that stuff. So big time match up there at 57, without a doubt.
I saw Jordan Wood is still wrestling at heavyweight for Lehigh. I feel like that guy was there when I was wrestling heavyweight. He was in like a bracket with me.
You got to remember, man, you got red shirt, Olympic red shirt, COVID red shirt. I mean, he's been around, and he's been really good the entire time. I mean,
he's good.
Except this year, he's like 280 pounds. Like, I don't know if you've seen it. He's big.
He was like 250 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's 280 now.
Wow.
Yeah, he's big, and he's good, on top. So you can't relax when you're underneath him. He'll hit that same bow and arrow that some people do. So he'll go bow and arrow, assassin, especially when he feels like he should beat somebody pretty bad. He'll try that stuff. So we got to be ready there because 100% chance if he gets on top, he's gonna go bow and arrow, assassin, and just try to punk somebody a little bit, for lack of a better phrase. So we got to be ready to stand up for ourselves there for sure.
Who are you allowed to tell us who we're going to see at 84 against? Is it Burkhart from?
Against Burkhart. It kind of depends on how Brad's feeling. Like last week was a good chance to put Brad out there in competition and test his leg, and he gets a match. So like to be ranked in the coaches poll, you have to have wrestled at least once in the past 30 days. Well, now Brad's wrestled once in the past 30 days. So whoever we send out there, I mean, Saham wrestles so hard. He's got the heart of a freaking lion. Whoever we send, I'm fine there with whoever we send out. Go get the job done. We're going to be okay. I don't know who it's going to be, but whoever it is, I feel really good about.
Dalton's got a big one against Brian Meyer.
Meyer's a tough guy to wrestle. He doesn't score a lot of points, but he doesn't give up a lot of points either. He's very powerful. If he gets underneath you and wants to pick you up, he's probably picking you up. He's pretty quick with a little sidestep, re-attack. But make no mistake, this is a match Dalton Harkins needs to think he's supposed to win because he is. In my mind, like Dalton, you need to go out there with some confidence that you've earned through your work ethic. If Dalton goes out there with the right attitude and wrestles with the right energy, I don't care what happens. Do those two things and you get better. I have faith that if he does those two things, he gets his hand raised. But if he goes out there with the right attitude and the right energy and something happens and he doesn't get his hand raised, whatever, like life's going to go on. I'm so proud of him. So, but if he just needs to focus on those two things, the right attitude, the right energy, and let's see what happens. That's why we do it, right attitude, right energy. Let's go fight.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly win or lose, his fan page will still be there for him. We will support him either way, but
he does not need another plug. I'll promise you that.
We're gonna clip this video out and post that on its own. It's gonna go viral. He's gonna be in a good place.
I'm telling you, no, because then they're gonna start no. I don't want that fan page having any dirt on me or any reason to come after me because Dalton Harkins fan page followers are they're the worst. they're going to come. If you say anything bad about Dalton Harkins, they're coming after you. So,
hey, Dalton, if you're listening in, Brian Myers doesn't have a fan page. So, I mean, if you don't think you're going to win that match, I mean, he doesn't have a fan page. So,
I hope Dalton's doing homework or something and not listening to us talk about CrossFit and wrestling.
We didn't talk about CrossFit at all. You're talking about CrossFit. I got a comp on Saturday, just saying.
Just saying. Well, good luck, man. Thank you for.
I think that's about the perfect time to wrap it up. Right when Brian starts talking about CrossFit.
Listen, thank you guys. I know we've talked a lot of wrestling tonight. Sunday, February 6th, 2 p.m., Crystal Arena, Senior Day. A chance for us to wrestle another nationally ranked opponent. And looking forward to battling Lehigh. We hope you can come out and support these guys. If not, you can tune in on Night Vision on Go Army West Point and support this amazing senior class and this team that we have. Thanks for everything that you do. Go Army.
Boom. We didn't even plan that ending, and that was really good. Appreciate you hopping on. Tyler, any last words?
No, good luck. Go beat Lehigh.
Awesome. Beat them. BHAW.
Thanks for tuning in to the BHAW Radio Show. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform. If there's something you'd like to hear on a future show, reach out to us on any of our social media, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Or you can reach us at email, bhaw.radio@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and as always, go Army, be Navy.